Hi, this is Kim Minch, and today I'd like to talk about how teenagers vacillate between thinking of others and thinking of themselves. And I have a perfect example of something that happened in our house over the last week. My 15-year-old son, Maddox, fantastic example of thinking of others. Over the weekend, he competed nationally in a taekwondo tournament, and he had spent an entire year working on a routine for himself, 90 seconds long, and they drove all the way, he and Tom drove all the way to Colorado Friday morning. The competition was Saturday, and Maddox didn't place in either of the two events. Again, something that he worked very hard on for an entire year. However, when he came home Sunday night, and I asked him how his weekend was. I wasn't sure how he had taken the fact that he hadn't really placed in either of the events. The first thing he said was, "Mom, the thing that left the biggest impression on me this weekend was the fact that Devin, one of his students, had come up to him and said, 'Maddox, can I take a picture with you? The medals that I won are really yours because you're the one that taught me how to do these things.'" So Maddox thought it was wonderful, and he was just like super honored that this kid felt like the medals really were Maddox's and not his, because Maddox had taught him what to do. So that was a wonderful example of teenage thinking outside of themselves, of the bigger picture, of not worrying so much about the outcome of himself, but thinking about others and how they actually pay attention to him and what he does and the things that he brings to other people. Then a couple days later, things around our house have been super busy because my husband started a business and I've gotten a part-time job, and that job requires me to travel 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, actually often an hour and a half on the way home. So my commute time is super long, and it's been very different for our kids because we used to have family dinner every single night, and now the way things are, I usually have to put stuff in the slow cooker, and sometimes they eat on their own. Sometimes Tom is home to eat with them. Generally 4 nights a week when I'm at work, I come home too late to eat with everybody, and I have to eat by myself. So it's been really a change for our family. So on Tuesday, I thought I'm going to go to work a little bit early, clock out a little bit early, see if it helps with the commute time. And then I also knew that nobody was going to be home besides Maddox and Mia to really be able to help with dinner. So I prepared a lot of dinner ahead of time on Tuesday morning, cut up vegetables for stir fry, cut up chicken, blah, 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 got everything all ready to go. So when I got home, I knew it would be fairly quick. So I clocked into work 15 minutes early, which means I could clock out of work 15 minutes early. And sure enough, the commute time was less. So I got home in time to put dinner together, and actually Tom got home and we all ended up sitting down together and eating, which was a rare thing during the week. So Maddox typically does dishes before he goes to Taekwondo, and I had yelled up the stairs a couple of times for him to come down and do dishes, and he either didn't hear me or chose to ignore me, not sure which one, but he came down in time to go to Taekwondo. And I said, "What about the dishes?" And he said, just like this, in this tone, he said, "Well, if we had had dinner earlier, then I would have had time to do the dishes," just like that. And I could feel inside of me like that immediate rush of like, wait a minute, I went to work early so I could come home early. I did as much as I could this morning. I could feel that, we're all doing the best we can kind of feeling. You sound disrespectful, ungrateful, blah, blah. I could feel all that coming up inside of me, as a parent, how you do that. But I just kind of let it go and took him where he needed to be and thought about it. And I thought we can sometimes be so concentrated on how our kids behave and how they respond to us without really thinking about what might be behind it for them, thinking about their feelings in the situation that they're in. So later on, I revisited it with Maddox, and I said, there have been a lot of changes in the last couple of months. And he said, "I hate change." And I said, I know that. And we're all doing the best we can. with the circumstances that we're in. And I realized that we used to have dinner together all the time and that there was more time, and things seem a lot more rushed now. And, you know, I'm wondering if your snippiness with me had anything to do with the fact that you're kind of unhappy or unsettled with the fact that things have changed. And he admitted to that. And, you know, I said that it's not going to be helpful to us to, I understand that, you know, this isn't always an ideal situation, but it is the one that we're in, and I understand your feelings. Because I think it's really important that our kids know that we hear them. And I think it's important for parents to understand that a lot of times what they're getting from kids is there's more going on underneath that. So to get angry and frustrated with that surface emotion that's coming out of their mouths, you need to start thinking, you know, what's behind this? What's behind that? It doesn't necessarily make it okay. I mean, if he continually spoke that way, it would be, you know, we'd have to really work on a better connection, because I do believe that when you get a lot of attitude from teens comes from the fact that there's something behind that behavior. They're missing something, they're needing something, life is too busy for them, and maybe it's time to slow down the family a little bit and reprioritize the connections in your family. But anyway, what I wanted to say in summary was, you know, here we went from this kid who over the weekend did not faze him that he didn't place, even though he worked super hard in his routines, because someone else had come to him and said, you know, I really admire what you did to help me. I mean, that was fantastic. But then 2 days later, he couldn't acknowledge or see what I had done to try and get dinner on the table and have a meal together. So, you know, teenagers are going to go through this. Sometimes they get it. Sometimes you wish they got it. And we have to just realize that this is a very changing, you know, time of a lot of change in their lives, and probably we don't see the half of it, and appreciate and respond to them with connection instead of anger, frustration, and overwhelm, which only creates more disconnection. There you go. Let me know how you feel about this video. Thanks.